There are 7 key symptoms of having a pricing problem in your business. And when I say having a pricing problem, what I mean is that you don't have a good, robust pricing strategy. And a pricing strategy is more than just the price, but I won't get into that today. What I want to focus on today are some of the key symptoms that you might see in your business that will help you identify whether you do have a pricing strategy problem or not. So the first one, which is super common, is that you're struggling to pay bills. You regularly have a situation where you're concerned about whether you can pay the bills this month. You're having to delay bills. You're having to shift things around, or just not pay some bills. That's the very first symptom. The second symptom is that you're losing great jobs or even poor jobs, but you're losing jobs to your competitors, even with similar or perhaps even cheaper pricing. That is a really major one. If you have that happening in your business, then there's a very high chance that you've got a real challenge around your pricing strategy. The third one is that if you haven't raised your prices in the last couple of years, if you haven't raised your price, if you don't have a regular process for addressing pricing, then you're definitely missing out. A good pricing strategy will have regular intervals, and actually the way that you do that and how you do that doesn't have any real impact. In fact, most of my clients end up having more revenue, and their customers actually love them for it. So being able to raise your prices is a really critical one, and be able to do it without apologizing, without feeling bad. You should have a really good solid strategy around that and show the value of that price increase when you need to have it. The other one is and it might sound a bit silly, and you might not feel it's connected, but where customers don't appreciate your work. And what's happening there is that they're not understanding the full value. And so your pricing strategy is failing to present that. And that's a real problem. So if you have customers that don't really appreciate your work, and they're always complaining about, niggling about things, even though you're providing good quality and good customer service, then you would almost definitely will need to look at your pricing strategy, and that's likely to be a part of the problem. If you haven't taken a vacation, this is a very common symptom of a poor pricing strategy. If you can't get away to take a vacation, you have a problem, and it's often going to be linked back again to your pricing. The other one around this is, if you factor in, as a business owner or a leader, if you factor in all the hours that you work, and then you look at what you take home at the end of the day, and if you're getting paid less than your staff on an hourly rate, you definitely have a problem, right? And there's a good chance you have a pricing strategy problem. And then I guess the last one is, if you can't get good staff, if you're unable to attract really good staff and retain them, there could be other factors, of course, for all of these things, but there's also a really good chance that your pricing strategy is affecting that. And so, I think it's really important to also recognize that when you start developing your pricing strategy, there's 2 things that are just not true about pricing that a lot of people believe. One is that people believe pricing is an art. It's some crystal ball fictitious thing that you need to look at and come up with some hoodoo stuff. It's a science. It's mathematically calculated. You put general principles around it, and you mathematically calculate it. You can compare it to competitors. You can position yourself where you want to be. It is not an art, it's a science. So that's really important. And then the other important thing, which is really probably the most important thing, is that people don't buy based on your price. We're human beings. You are selling to human beings, whether you're business to business or business to customer. My clients are business to business generally, but they can be business to customer as well, and all in the service industry. You are dealing with people, and people do not buy on price, they buy on value. We have a psychological process for determining value for ourselves, and that is what we buy on. So it's really critical that a lot of people, I think, get hung up on price, and they forget about the value. And that's where your pricing strategy is worth so much. So if you're having any issues, if you're having these symptoms, you could have a problem with your pricing strategy. If you're having a problem with your pricing strategy, I can certainly help with that. Reach out to me. Have a great Easter weekend.